My name is John Franzese Jr., and I am lucky to be chatting with Staxx.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got John Franzese Jr.
I don't know exactly, but I knew what I was doing was gonna one. I figured maybe I would get. I would stop drinking and getting high for periods of time, only to start again.
Yeah.
Like I didn't feel like this is gonna be my life. And then years later in the 2000s, that's when it was really hard because I was wearing a recording device then. It wasn't just word of mouth stuff and quality of information and proximity of where it came. It was bad. And to this day, I mean, I love my dad. I love the guys that I testified against. I didn't have no it something happened to me in 2001. My life changed in one day. And everything it's just none of that life, or not just that life, any life where people are hurting, stealing, lying to other people, it's just not my thing. And I thought at that time I'd never have to worry about it again. I lived on Section 8 housing. I was getting SSI and SSD for 4 years. I lived on that for 19 years, even when I was in the witness program. Nobody understands. I lived on 900 and some odd dollars. I felt rich. And it started to get to me that my whole life, everything, you're around a lot of indigent people, homeless, people that were really sick and really abused and didn't have the advantages I did. And you're around that and all of a sudden, every car, every piece of jewelry, every girl that I had that thought I was somebody was because of illegal and criminal and violent means. It doesn't matter. We had legitimate, but we used our power to make legitimate businesses work. It was bad, and then I got sober, and then it happened, and then I'm living like that, and it's hard to live and pay your bills and be self-supporting, and try not to lie or take advantage, and I'm realizing what other people are going through. And out of nowhere, they come flying out of the woodwork telling me my dad's an underboss. We want to straighten you out again. There's something going on in California. Can you take care of it? And I'm telling them I'm living a good life. But you're living on Section 8 housing. Come back. You don't live. You're a Franzese. We don't live like that. It's better here. And they were happy I wasn't drinking and getting high, but they never could understand the lifestyle I chose to live afterward that was making me happy.
Yeah.
And at that point when it got serious, and I sat with myself and I said, hey, you could say no, because I could have. I had developed the ability to tell them no. There was no question about that. I was even worried about going back to that life. But then I had a mentor, and only he knew, and we kept kicking it around. I said, if you know something horrible is happening, don't I have some responsibility? And I don't want this to sound silly. I know some people think it's weird. I prayed a lot for an answer. I talked with this man, and all of a sudden I realized that I might have to make that decision because I could have said no, but then could I have lived with that if people got killed? I wasn't nowhere near to that understanding of life anymore. 10.
So you were cooperating for a while, but you
Yes.
didn't. You decided to testify in 2010.
2000, well, no, I made the decision to become a cooperating witness in 2004, 2005, because somewhere in 97, after I went to jail for a year, and I got out and I was still doing the stuff with the FBI as a confidential informant, giving them information. And then I started drinking and getting high again. And, I ended up in the subways like for 11 years.
Would they give you money for that?
Okay. I was just with Rob Lewicki. I just been to New York. He said that over the whole course of this, I received about $50,000. He also confirmed that aside from the very beginning, I got one payment for $1,800 after 90 days. I kept telling him I don't want to do this for money. Okay. He kept saying if you drink or get high and we find out it's over, we're no longer doing this. And he said it was about $50,000. Okay. So a lot of people say they handed me a bunch of money. This was over a period of time. Not only that, I did get to keep, when I was in the witness program, over a course from 2006 till about 2018, about $60,000. But that's over the stretch of years. So you figure out what it comes out to a year. I was living below the poverty level with no, and it was okay. I mean, I was thankful. I had Section 8. I mean, I was okay.
Yeah.
And I lived like I was rich. But people are trying to say that I got paid. And yes, I did. But how was I going to live in a witness program? I don't have any degree, any college papers. You get no credit there. Not that I had any credit. You start out fresh. So they help you along with my disability and SSI. So it never was. And then Rob also said that every dollar he gave me during the investigation had to be used for the investigation. He said, you never get to John never used that money for his own personal use. It was to make a display for them to be more attracted and more like focused on me after they wanted me to come back there.
After all this happens, right? And your father goes back to prison. He's an old man by this time. Do you ever talk to your dad again?
Okay, you're not going to believe this. I did go see my dad, and that's people. I mean, they wrote about that in Vanity Fair, and they wrote about it in some other stuff. And I think I did a podcast or two. But Bill, the best part after I visited him was for about a year. I called him secretly twice a month, maybe once a week. I don't remember, but and I had to call him before he had visitors. He didn't want, and I had to call him from a different phone. He didn't want anyone seeing my phone attached to the home he was in. And it wasn't because he was worried. He was worried for me. My dad was always worried for me. And he, we used to talk and we used to have fun and laugh. And it was the best time that last year over the phone. Look, I did a terrible thing, not just to my dad. People say I didn't just testify against my dad. Anthony Familari died. Frankie Camp was really good to me. Joe DeGorga, my cousin Michael Catapano, John Coppolino. There was Joe the Butcher Virtuoso from the Bananas. There was so many guys on those recordings that nobody heard because they didn't play them all. Uh, it was not easy. It's not easy today. I know it was the right thing, but sometimes doing the right thing is so bad. It's so hard. Like sometimes I'm in the kind of a day where like I'm a piece of fucking rat. Uh, Sometimes I watch some of these reels and like these people are still caught up on who's a rat here. I'm a rat, considering by their terms. But Bill, honestly, if I'm a rat for testifying against that, you mean if I didn't and stood in that life and took orders to kill people because they owed me money and families would lose sons, husbands, fathers, brothers, but that's not a rat. You're going to tell me that? I, it's okay. I'm not trying to change the world. I don't know. I made a decision and I'm going to live with it. I'm not going to defend it. I'm not going to do. All I know is I believe I made the right decision. And the only evidence is that for 24 years, I have lived in a wonderful world, not the world I came from. And there's a lot of people that are happy they know me today. Their families are happy they know me. So I'm doing something good today.
And
And
your father talked to you. You guys reconciled,
yeah,
right?
it was, look, Bill, I think my dad did the ultimate thing. He was a gangster to the end. But my father would have never killed anyone in his family. And if it cost him what it might look like, he didn't care. He would have sacrificed everything he did his whole life not to have one of his sons killed, even though he would never agree with what I did. And he would never tell me in any way that there was anything good in it. But he couldn't live with anyone thinking that he would kill his own family.
So, what
And
do you got to say for Joey Merlino, who says your dad's a rat because he forgave you and he still dealt with Michael and still dealt with you when he knows that like your brother testified in front of the government and you cooperated against your dad? He called your dad a rat. What do you got to say for
does
that?
does we're talking about a life and a style of living that I'm a million miles removed from. You want to say this is a rat or my dad's a rat? I mean, who cares? Well, are we talking about the Yankees where we're hoping to win a pennant? What are we hoping to win? What? That the mob is good? That these men are stand up? All I know is my father closed his eyes. I was his son and he's my father. That's all I know. And I know that about my sister Gia, Tina, Lorraine, Carmine, Michael, and Mary Ann. That's what we know. Who cares? Technically, you want to go back to that life? You want to go back to their rules? Uh, Technically, if somebody did say that about my dad, my father would have said the same thing. He would have said the same thing. And he goes, now, what are you going to do? I know my dad. He knows that life. He wouldn't deny the right and wrong of that life. But he was stronger as a father, finally, in the end, than he was as a gangster. He
Yeah,
found,
being a father overpowered the whole gangster life. He didn't
in
give a
the end, he
yeah.
finally made a choice. You know, the only time he went against maybe that, and I don't think he went again. In his mind, he didn't because he never admitted I testified. When I saw him, my father said you shouldn't have wrote that letter to the judge. He wouldn't say that I testified, even face to face. Wouldn't say it. So, what can I say? I think it's entertainment, and people like that stuff. It's great. I'm happy for you. I live in Indianapolis, and the people treat me great here. I have a great job. I work for a Prana house. It's a sober living. I worked in sober livings for 23 years now. I'm happy as I can be. I think I bring something to the world rather than take. I don't make a lot of money. I live from paycheck to paycheck. I don't have anything saved for my future, anything. I Medicare, Medicaid, United Healthcare. Who knows? Maybe I'll end up in some state old age home. But if I do, I'm going to meet one of the most wonderful nurses to be a friend, or my roommate is going to be this phenomenal guy. And we'll live out the rest of our days there. I mean, who knows?
So how do you feel about your brother today, Michael?
I love my brother. I mean, Michael did a lot of good for me, and we talk, and we know recently we said we have different views on some things. But, what does that have to do with our relationship? I mean, the social media thing is a good thing. And I think when people say this is about content, I'm not in that. I don't look, maybe I will one day. I don't know. I mean, I'm just thankful guy like yourself that did all those podcasts asked me to be on. Who the hell am I? And I think he's once again Michael and Mike. Can you imagine? My father goes to jail. Michael's Michael. No matter what they make more. My father made more money in jail than most people ever make without going to jail.
In
Him
a
and Michael,
lifetime.
Bill, they were ridiculous, and they were partners. They're ridiculous. They're one of those kinds of people that no matter what they do, they're going to make money. And God bless him. And Michael got out of that life, and he got, from what I understand, he's gigantic.
Yeah, he's huge.
So everything he does well. I don't know. It's not my, I do things good too. They may not amount to much, but people will say, "Yeah, I remember you did that. That was pretty great."
It's in a different way, right?
In a different way, like essence and substance for me.
Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before we go?
Well, just a lot of people that have helped me to be able to be here today, that have stood by me and told me no matter what I do, that was in the past and keep moving forward. And then my new company, my new job that I work for, Prana House Sober Living. I I don't think in all my time we've ever made more of a difference than at this place, Prana. That's important to me.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. If you like this show, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. And if you don't like this show, too bad. Start your own podcast. Peace.